Good evening, everyone. My name is Toyo Silabeodon. I'm a principal immigration consultant in TrueLink Immigration Services. You are welcome to today's live interactive session where we'll be discussing available options that you can use to migrate to Canada in 2020. We just started now, so I'm expecting, okay, yeah, I'm seeing people are joining already. While we wait for a few people to join, or while we wait for people to join, those that are here already, I think maybe we can just, in 2 minutes, just discuss a short topic. What reasons do you give or do you have for wanting to migrate to Canada? Can you just type reasons that you think people want to use to migrate to Canada? I have 3 reasons I want to discuss with you briefly before I go into the main topic. But while we wait for others to join, can we just talk about it briefly? Reasons why you think people want to migrate to Canada. Maybe I should give one. Let me give one while others are joining. You are sure of uninterrupted power supply. That's one major reason. Uninterrupted power supply. Over here in Canada, light is constant. There's 24-hour supply of light. No interrupted light. They don't take light at all compared to many other places. Anybody wants to suggest any other reason? You can type it. So we'll just talk about it while we wait for others to join. Okay, let me still go on with the other 2 reasons. One other reason is very good healthcare. Canada has one of the best healthcare in the world. Over here in Canada, healthcare is free. No matter the severity of your health condition, no matter the cost of your healthcare over here in Canada is free. One of the major reasons is free education for your kids till the age of 18. So you are sure that you won't have to pay school fees while they are in primary school or secondary school. You won't have to bother about paying school fees, and the quality of education is actually very high standards. It's not like what you get in other places where the teachers just load the students with assignments or assignments that does not make sense. Yeah, they also give them assignments, but they give them assignments that you are sure will impact their lives. Assignments that will make them think, that will make them do things or become inventors of beautiful things. So that's one other major reason. Okay, someone said for good job and stable economy. Well, so many other reasons. So let's go on. Let's go on to the topic for today. Today's topic, today we're going to be talking about available options that you can use to migrate to Canada. I'm sure many of us should be aware that there are so many programs. Well, I'm aware that there are over 60 programs that you can actually use to migrate to Canada. So today we're going to be talking briefly on some of them. We can't actually talk about all of them. But before I go on to that, I just want to introduce ourselves a little. I said earlier on, I work with TrueLink Immigration Services. TrueLink Immigration Services is a Canada-based immigration firm. We have a head office in Edmonton, Canada, and we also have a branch office in Nigeria. Our branch office is located in Ibadan, in Nigeria, while the head office is located in Edmonton, in Canada. What's our vision? Why was TrueLink established? TrueLink was established to help you start a new life of opportunity in Canada. We're actually established to also assist you to make Canada your home. So if you are outside Canada and you want to come to Canada, we're the TrueLink that you need to assist you with that process. And if you're already in Canada and you also want to remain in Canada, you are sure, I'm very certain that we're also the genuine and TrueLink that you need to remain in Canada. So if you have any visa related application that has to do with Canada, you should be certain that you're actually in the right place and with the right company. So going back to the topic for today, which is available options that you can use to migrate to Canada. There are over 60 programs that you can use to migrate to Canada, and many of these programs actually lead to permanent residency, which means that when you come in through that program, you actually become a permanent resident of Canada. And after you have become a permanent resident, if you stay in Canada for 3 years out of 5 years, you can actually apply to become a citizen. So I would start by picking one of them. I'm sure many of us have heard about the Express Entry. That's a major program that everybody knows about. I want to assume that. Express Entry was introduced in, that's the first one I want to talk about. It was introduced in January 2015. And this was actually a system that was designed to help the government of Canada bring in skilled workers. Under the Express Entry, you have 3 major categories of program there. So I'll briefly talk about each of them. The first one we have is the Federal Skilled Worker Program. The Federal Skilled Worker Program allows skilled workers to come into Canada. And for you to come in under the Federal Skilled Worker Program, you must have a minimum of 1 year work experience. That is the minimum that is required that you must have before you can come in through the Federal Skilled Worker Program. A lot of people are actually using this program to migrate to Canada. It looks simple, though it can also be complex, but it's one of the programs that you can actually use to migrate to Canada. Another one that I'll talk about, which is also under the Express Entry, is the Canadian Experience Class. Canadian Experience Class is for those that have worked in Canada, or for those that have actually studied in Canada. So if you have work experience in Canada, or you are studying in Canada, you can actually use that Canadian Experience Class to migrate to Canada. There are many other programs that you can actually use to come into Canada. By the time you have used those ones to come to Canada, you can now you are now eligible to apply using the Canadian Experience Class. Next one I'll talk about, which is also under the Express Entry class, is the Federal Skill Trade. Federal Skill Trade has very low requirements, and the Federal Skill Trade actually allows individuals who actually have a job offer, or those who have a certification to work in some provinces. It allows them to come into Canada. So if you have what we call certificate of qualification in your profession, you can actually use that to come into Canada under the Canadian Federal Skill Trade. The requirement for the Federal Skill Trade is not actually very high. It actually also requires very low IELTS score or English proficiency. In fact, if you have CLB5, you can actually migrate through the Federal Skill Trade. But there are specific occupations that can actually use Federal Skill Trade to migrate. They have their groups, Group 72, and so many other ones. So that's also one of the programs that you can actually use to come into Canada. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about is Provincial Program. We call it Provincial Nomination Program. There are about 10 provinces and 3 territories in Canada. Each of these provinces and territories, they have different programs. In fact, some of them have like 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 programs that you can actually use to come to Canada. The provincial programs are numerous, and each of them have different criteria. We will not be able to discuss all of them today. It's not actually possible, because I mentioned earlier that some of them could have up to 6 to 10 programs, each of the provinces. So, well, for example, I could talk to you about a few of them. Like we have under Manitoba, we have different programs that Manitoba has. Alberta too has its own programs. Ontario has its own program. British Columbia has its own program. There are so many of them that each of these provinces actually have. And what happens most of the time is, if you apply to a province and you get a nomination, that automatically gives you an additional 600 points, which when added to your CRS score, is likely going to make you get an invite from the federal government. The federal government of Canada is the only one that actually decides who comes into Canada. But the provinces can nominate someone and say, I want to nominate this person to come to my province. If the province is nominating you, it means that for a period of time, maybe like 2 years or 3 years, depending on the province, you will be required to live in that province. It's after that period of time that you can actually move out to other provinces if you are not okay with the province that nominated you. So there are so many provincial programs that you can actually use to also migrate to Canada. For those that are having issues getting a federal invite, provincial nomination is actually an option that you can actually try. And just like I said earlier on, that there are so many programs under the provinces that you can actually use. There are programs for those doing agriculture. There are programs for those that are in the IT business or IT who are doing IT related work or businesses. There are just so many of them, different categories, different provinces, different programs, and there are actually so many. The other one I would like to talk about is the self-employed program. Canada has a program that can actually allow you to come in as a self-employed. In our society, the requirement for the basic requirement for the self-employed program is not also very high. In fact, all you need to score is about 35 over 100. And what they use to assess you to is your education, your work experience, and some other things. The self-employed program allows individuals who are able to come into Canada and become self-employed to come into Canada. So that program is for if you think you have the capacity to come into Canada and work for yourself. You don't have to work for anybody. And this, an example of people that can do this are authors, filmmakers, even fashion designers, and so many other. There are so many other occupations that can also migrate under the self-employed. There are so many of them. But really, it's always good to actually assess your profile to see whether what you do or your work experience, your previous work experience or your current work experience fall under any of those categories. We can actually help you do that. We can look at your current work experience and see if it falls under the self-employed. So if you think you can come into Canada and work as a self-employed, work for yourself, you can be a writer, you can be writing and publishing things, you could be an athlete. And there are actually two categories. You can actually come into Canada for cultural activities, or you're also coming in as an athlete. So the self-employed program can actually help those who are skilled in what they do. And possibly if you have also done those things in settings that are world class, or you have been recognized somewhere around the world that, yes, you are a specialist in this area, and you want to come into Canada to continue to do what you are doing, you can actually migrate to Canada as a self-employed. And one of the other programs that you can actually also use is the caregiver program. Caregiver program is a program that allows people to come to Canada and assist, live with people or live in your own house, but you are coming to Canada to help people take care of their loved ones, maybe their children, the seniors in their homes, or people that are sick, or people that live with disability. It also has very low requirements. Many people would also qualify for this program. And there's a new program that just started July this year. The caregiver, they've had different programs over the years, but a new pilot program started July this year, which will last for 5 years. And it's also one of the odds programs that people can actually use to migrate to Canada in 2020. So if you need details about that, we can always help you with that. I said it earlier on, it has low requirements. All you need for English language proficiency, all you need is a CLB5, while for educational qualification, the minimum that you need for that is 1 year post-secondary education. So if you have your WAEC, if you are from Nigeria and you have your WAEC certificate and you have gone to school for 1 year after your SSC you're actually eligible to apply for the caregiver program. Yeah, there are other programs too that are also that were just recently announced. We also have the rural and northern immigration pilots. The rural and northern immigration pilots is a program that Canada just recently also introduced. This program is to actually assist rural communities to bring in people. They want to actually encourage people to stay in those communities and help those communities to grow. But this program is actually managed by the employer and the community. So you need the community needs to recommend you. The employer wants to give you a job offer, and the community where you're going to work must work hand in hand with you to bring you in. This is also a program that a lot of people can also actually use. It's also a new program, and currently it's ongoing. There are so many. It's not all provinces that can actually apply through this program. There are about 11 communities that are listed right now that you can apply to. And these communities are located in Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. Those are just the only places where you can actually apply to the rural and northern immigration pilot program. Those are the communities where they do that, and they have the list of communities within those provinces where you can apply to. You need to link up with the community people, and also the job offer you're getting from your employer. The community must support it. Otherwise, you will not be able to use that program to migrate. It's also a new program, and it's one that you can also use to migrate to Canada. So next one I would like to talk about is the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. This program is for those that wants to go and work in the Atlantic area, or who wants to go and work and live in the Atlantic area. And what are the Atlantic areas? There are Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island. They have different categories. One, we have the high skill program, we have the intermediate skill program, and we also have the international graduate program. These programs are designed to bring in different categories of people into those provinces. If you have to work, if you want to migrate using the Atlantic Pilot Program, Immigration Pilot Program, you need to work in any of those 4 provinces. Those are the provinces that are known as the Atlantic provinces, and those are the places where you can actually apply to if you want to use that program to migrate. It was also recently the pilot. It was also a pilot program, but recently, March this year, they extended the pilot program by another 2 years. So the program is still on till 2021 or thereabout. And that's also another program that you can actually use to migrate to Canada. The other one I would like to talk about are so many different entrepreneurship investor programs. These are actually for people who want to come and establish businesses in Canada. For you to establish business in Canada, you need to show that you have a net worth. Depending on the provinces, each province has different criteria that you need to show for that. And there's also another requirement that says you are expected to invest a minimum of maybe about 100,000 Canadian dollars, between 100 and 250,000 Canadian dollars. It depends on the province. In that province, within a span of either 1 year or 2 years. So each province has their own requirements. We are knowledgeable about all these things, so we can actually guide you on all of them. We know the provinces that have lower requirements in terms of investment. We know those that have a high requirement. We can discuss all this with you when you are really ready to retain our services to guide you on how to go about it. So there are so many of them. There are a whole lot of them. So, for example, New Brunswick has its own. Prince Edward Island has. Quebec has. Ontario has. Many of the provinces have different investment programs that you can also use to migrate. But for investor programs or entrepreneurial program, you are not actually coming here to work as an employee. You're actually coming to work here as an employer. You're coming to set up a business. But the funny thing is, some of those provinces also have ways by which they can actually bring in an employee. I'll give an example. For example, if you are the CEO of your company and you want to come and establish a business, you can bring somebody with you, apart from your family, who can come into Canada to work with you. So technically, you have actually been able to assist someone who possibly has working with you previously to also come to Canada, and that one is coming to work with you in Canada as an employee. So the meaning of that is, if you know anybody who, maybe the person you're working with currently has a big business, and you can actually talk to the person to come and invest in Canada, the person can actually bring you in as his employee. You know, all we're going to say is you are needed for, you have been working, it's possible that you have been working with him for a long time, you know all those operations, and he needs you to help with the business. So if you don't have the resources, but you know someone that has the resources who can invest in Canada, the person can actually add you to the application and bring you in. There are so many provinces that allows that. So we are knowledgeable about all these things. We can actually guide you on all of that. The next one I'll talk about is the study to immigrate plan. Even though it's a study plan, the first thing you need to do is you need to come in on a student visa. When you come in on a student visa, you can actually work. When you have a student visa in Canada, it allows you to work. And by the time you are done with your study, or by the time you are even schooling, we can actually processing your migration program at the same time, your permanent residence at the same time. And if it's not yet completed, by the time you are done with your study, you are entitled to, you can get as much as 3 years post-graduation work permits, which allows you to work in Canada for 3 years. This is actually dependent on the number of years that you studied in Canada. So you're able to get that. In between that period, you should definitely be able to get a permanent residence if you actually if you put your student visa to us. I'm almost certain that will help you with that, because the end result of your coming to Canada will not, I'm sure many people will not want to come to Canada, spend so much money on study, and after 1 year or 2 years, you want to go back. Many people want to still work here or stay here, and the 3 years post-graduation work permit that you get, that time allows you to actually study the culture of Canada and see if you actually like to stay here. If you want to stay, you can go back. But if you want to stay, yes, you can stay, and we can actually make you stay. If you remember earlier when I started the session, I said we actually assist you we help you start a new life of opportunity in Canada, or if you're already in Canada, we help you remain in Canada. So for those that want to use the study plan to migrate, it's very possible. We'll get you a study visa first. You come in here, you can work while you're studying. By the time you are done with your school, or while you are schooling, we can start the process for permanent residence. And by the end of, either when you have completed your studies, or by the time you have completed your post-graduation work permit, which can be up to 3 years, you can also become a permanent resident of Canada. The last one I'd like to talk about is Quebec. Quebec has so many programs too that you can use to migrate to Canada. Quebec is actually unique because it's a French-speaking part of Canada. Even though there are so many people, a lot of people in Quebec speak English. So the fact that Quebec is known as the French part of there, but does not mean that you cannot go there. There are so many programs that Quebec also has that are similar to the provincial program, but their own are not. Quebec is not classed like the province. That's a special. Their programs are independent. They are on their own. They are the only ones that the federal government allow to do things by themselves, even though they still have to pass through the federal government, but they give them a lot of autonomy to do a lot of things. So there are a lot of other programs too in Quebec that we can actually use to help you to migrate. They have entrepreneur program. They have skilled programs for workers too, and so many other programs that they have that you can actually use. So I'll go on to how we can actually help. What do we do? What can we do for you? The first thing I will do is I've mentioned so many programs that you can use to manage Canada, but how do we come in? We come in by first assessing you to know which of the program that fits you. When you have over 60 programs, you could have one, two, three that you might be eligible for, so as not to waste your resources and just be spending money on all the programs. We are licensed professionals. We're experienced. We're knowledgeable about what we are doing. If you fill our assessment form, we can actually look at your profile, we'll assess your profile, and advise you on the best method or the best program that you can use. So if we assess you now, we see that, oh, you're looking for one, two, three programs. We'll be able to tell you, okay, you're looking for these three programs, but this one will be the best one that we think you should use. And we'll give you reasons for that. But without us assessing you first, we would not know which of the program is best for you. Especially when there are so many programs. I mentioned earlier on that each of those provinces, many of the provinces have, some of them have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 programs. And it's possible that you might be eligible for more than 2 or 3 in different provinces. There are 10 provinces in Canada and with 3 territories. So what we're going to do is would assess you first to see which of those programs you're eligible for. Then we would advise you on the best one that we feel you should use. Because we're actually experts in this, we are knowledgeable about this, and we know what to do. So after the assessment, you will actually get a result that tells you you're eligible, or which of the program that we are likely going to use to, which of the program that your profile best fits, so that you can actually now start working on that. So for those that wants to do our assessment, I'm going to give you a link here. I'm going to give you a link that you can go to, and from that link, you will be able to fill the free assessment. It's a free assessment. You're not paying for it. It's free. So all you just need to do is go to our website, www.truelinktravel.com. When you get to that site, you would see free assessment. I'll type the website here. Okay, I'm going to paste the link here for you. This is the link. If you go to that link, the link I sent just now, if you get to that link, you would if you click on that link, it takes you straight to the free assessment page where you can actually fill the free assessment. And once you fill it, we would see it in a Canada office here, and we'll be able to assess you and tell you what you need to do. So that's the link for that. So let me take your questions now. Let me take the questions that you have now. And many of these programs, someone said, I would love with my family. Many of these programs are programs that you can actually take your family along. Canada is a very family-friendly country. They are happy about bringing families together, and they encourage family reunification. So many of these programs are programs that you can actually use to come with your family. If at the same time, if you want one of your family members to stay back while you are coming here, you want one of them to stay back, it's possible. If you want to also come with all your family, you can come with your family. For example, look, the caregiver program was rebranded recently, and in July they changed a lot of things. The previous program for caregiver did not allow the caregivers family members to come with them, but right now the new program that they just started in July allows the family members of caregivers to migrate with them to Canada when they are coming. So what program is best for a male individual who is into real estate and above 45 years? Just like I said, there are so many programs that are available. The first thing you need to do here is to I'm talking to Evangel. Go to our website, truelinktravel.com. I posted a link under the comment section there. Go to our website, fill the free assessment. We'll look at it and assess you and advise you on the best program you can use. We first actually assess you first to see whether you're even eligible for any of the programs. There are programs that real estate people. It's not this. What the decision you feel here is not comprehensive enough. The criteria that they use for assessment are so many. Some of the things they use include your age, work experience, your qualification, your marital status, whether you have a family in Canada, whether you have schooled in Canada before. There's so many criteria. Yeah, I just mentioned that the person in real estate and for 5 years. So there are so many programs you can use. If you're not even eligible for a federal program, there are many other provincial programs that you can use. There are some provinces too that will take real estate. Some provinces have a list of operations in demand. That's the operation that they want to come to their provinces. And many times these requirements are updated regularly. So fill a free assessment and we'll get back to you on that. Please, I don't know anything about it, sir. Please, I don't know what exactly you don't know anything about, but I think you can chat us up. You can see our WhatsApp number up there. You can chat us up and let's discuss better on that. Someone said, what about a widow with 3 kids? Which program is for her? Just like I said earlier on, we can't just look at you and say this program is good for you. If a widow with 3 kids, I don't know your qualification, I don't know your age, I don't know what experience you have. So you need to feel. If you feel a free assessment, we'll see all this, and when we see all that, we'll be able to advise you on the best program that you can use to migrate. There are so many programs. There are over 60 programs. So be sure of that. I'm sure that we'll see one program that we can actually use for you. Someone said, is it possible to not be eligible for any of the programs? It's possible. It's possible. It's possible that you will not be eligible for any of the programs. It's possible. But if you're not eligible for any of the program, we will tell you what. That's why if you fill a free assessment and you're not eligible for any of the programs, we will tell you what you need to do to become eligible. There might be things, or in fact, not that there will be things that you might need to do that would make you eligible. So we are experts in what we do. After we have reviewed your profile, we'll be able to tell you the things that you need to do to make you eligible. And if you follow our guidance, if you return our services and you follow our guidance, I can assure you that if you do those things that we ask you to go and do, you would be eligible. If you're happy that is single with nobody to act as a sponsor, which program or province do you think will take him? If you're someone, well, it applies to anybody that is single. If you are single with nobody to act as a sponsor, so I need a bit of clarification with what you said, that nobody to sponsor. I didn't mention one of the programs that you can use to migrate to Canada. You can migrate to Canada through spousal sponsorship. If you have a spouse in Canada, your spouse can sponsor you to come to Canada. In fact, you can. It's also possible to sponsor your brothers or your sibling. There are conditions that are attached to that. But if you are living in Canada and you are living alone in Canada, and maybe you have a brother that is somewhere, we can actually sponsor the person. There are rules that guide that, and we can also do that. So it depends on what you mean by nobody to sponsor. Well, that's the way I understand your question is, if there's somebody to sponsor. I don't really understand what you mean by that, but what I understand, I think I've explained it. You can sponsor it's possible to sponsor your spouse, and it's also possible for you to sponsor your sibling. If you have a sibling in Canada and you want to sponsor someone outside Canada, it's possible to sponsor the person. There are rules that guide that. We know all that. When you consult with us, we'll be able to guide you and tell you how to go about it. Someone said, I was refused a temporary resident visa September, solely on the basis of the visa officer not saying that I'm going to leave Canada after the purpose of my visit. What do I do? The first thing I would advise you to do for me is, you said you have given reason, but many times we want to see what the officer wrote at the back end. So I would suggest that if you return our services, we can help you get the detail that the officer wrote at the back end is always more detailed than the general thing that they just give out when they refuse visas. When we see that, we can actually look at that and look at how we can help you address it. If we have to reapply again, it's good to get that note out. We call it the GCMS note. GCMS note. We can, if you get that out, Global Case Management System, GCMS note. Yeah, if you get that out, we'll see the main reason. What are the things he saw, or what were the things going on in his mind when he said purpose of visits? He would have written those things there, so we'll see it, and on that basis, we'll be able to know whether we should reapply, and if we have to reapply, we can use, because we can address his concerns so that they will not refuse the visa again when you reapply. Yeah, someone said job offer is a major challenge in provincial nomination program. How do you assist? Well, we have our head office in Canada, so we can guide you on how to get job offers. There are so many sites where you can apply, and there are also so many employers that are looking for employees. But it's not all provinces that also require job offers. We have done provincial nomination for a lot of people who never had a job offer. So it's not job for me. I won't accept that job offer is a major challenge in provincial nomination program. There are many other provinces that do not require job offers for you to apply, and there are also some that require job offers, and will guide you on what you need to do. So there are some provinces that go around the world to give job offers to people. We know about all this. When they are traveling around, or when they are going around to look for people that would come to Canada, we can inform you about it. If you're able to meet up with them, you might be lucky to get a job offer from any of them, and that will also help you. And there are also sites that you can also apply to, where you can also apply to get a job offer. I really want to know if it's possible for someone found that school start. Sorry, I don't understand your question. I really want to know if it's possible for someone that, or maybe what you are trying to say is someone that has school starts to migrate. The minimum required for most of this program is school starts, but it's not just about school starts. Well, that's the minimum required. I agree, but what skills do you have? If you have school starts and you don't have any other skill, others that have other skills are likely to be taken before they take you. Others that have BSc or OND or HND are likely to be taken before you. So it's actually very difficult. It's not impossible, but it's actually very difficult for someone that has school starts to migrate to Canada, because skilled work is about experience. So if you have experience in the field, and that field is in high demand in Canada, yeah, it's possible. So it's not just about school. School start is just general. There's no skill. In school start, you have A1 in all your courses: English, Maths, Physics, Chemistry, Biology. But what is the course that you are doing? What is the work you are doing? What's the skill that you have? Are you a welder? Are you a carpenter? Or are you a medical doctor? You need to have a skill. You need work experience. You need to have work experience in a discipline to migrate to Canada. So it's not just about having school start alone. Do you assist asylum seekers from Nigeria? Family of four. If yes, what are the chances of success? Asylum visa is one of the things that we do. But let me clarify with you. I'm a licensed immigration consultant in Canada. You cannot apply for asylum visa from Nigeria. It is not possible. Anybody that tells you that he wants to process asylum visa from Nigeria is just lying to you. I'm confident about it. If you want to file for asylum, you must enter Canada first. What many of them will do for you is they're going to apply for visa for you and tell you they're doing asylum visa for you. That's not asylum visa. So you cannot apply for asylum visa from Nigeria. There are countries that can sponsor asylum seekers, but not from Nigeria. If you have there's asylum visa. For you to apply for asylum visa, you must be inside Canada. You must enter Canada. When you get to Canada, you will now go and file for asylum. But even when you file for asylum, there has to be, what is your basis of claim? That's what we call it, BOC. What is the basis of claim? If you don't have a genuine basis of claim, at the end of the day, it's not refused. If you stay in Canada for many years, at the end of the day, by the time they sit on your case and they find out there are a lot of lies about it or whatever, they'll still deport you back. So why do you want to go through that kind of stress? Why not, if you're eligible for any of the other programs, why not take your time to look at the other ones you be eligible for, and take your time to do it so you can come in as a skilled worker. Coming in as an asylum means that you are scared of something. You are afraid for your life. Your life is in danger. You're now seeking safety in another country like Canada. So if you cannot defend that and prove that beyond reasonable doubt, they will not approve it. Yeah, when people come in, when people come in initially, they give them house, they feed them, they give them money. Yes, they do that, but that does not mean that they are settled in Canada. They will still be taking time to investigate, and all the things you have written down under your basis of claim, in your basis BOC, basis of claim form, and all the evidence they have dropped down. They will investigate everything, and if they find out any of it is not true, then it's an issue. So for asylum, we help with asylum. If you are here, we can help you with it because we are in Canada. We have our head office in Canada. We can help you with it. But the protocol for it is you must land in Canada first before you can file for asylum. You cannot file for asylum from Nigeria. It's not possible. Okay, someone asks, is proof of funds needed for caregiver program? No, proof of fund is not needed for caregiver program. That's one of the programs that does not require proof of funds. You are coming to work, you already have a job offer, so you don't need proof of fund at all. Your spouse, if you are married, your spouse too will also get an open work permit that allows him to work. So you do not need proof of fund for caregiver program at all. Okay, someone clarified the question they asked for. When I say sponsor, I mean someone over here to act as a relative. Let me go back to your question and see. Someone over here to, if you're that is single with nobody to act as a relative, which program or province do you think will take him? I think the what you can do is fill a free assessment. Then you might need to book a consultation, most likely, because I'm still not clear. When I say sponsor, I mean someone over there. Okay, someone over there in Canada to act as a relative. Okay, if you are doing now, I think I understand your question now. If you are doing provincial program, there are some provinces that require that you should have a relative in that province or a friend. So if you don't have a relative or a friend, there are things you can do. One, you can search for a friend. Many of us are on Facebook or social media, and we don't know how to use it. There are friends there are people that you have known for many years, who you have lived with for many years, or you have been friends many years back, and you actually don't know that they migrated. I was talking to someone 2 days ago, and I was chatting with her. The next thing, she asked my number. I sent my number to her. She now sent me her own number. And I was like, oh, where are you? She said she was in Toronto. I was like, since when? She said for 2 years. She's been there for 2 years. So what am I trying to say is there are people that you may not even know are your friends or your family members who are far away. So you need to, we can guide you on all that. You need to be taught how to look for your friends and families in Canada so that you can apply to those provinces. And if you retain our services, we can help you with all that. We're not saying we are giving you someone as a relative, but we'll show you how to go about it. What you need to do to look for people who should be able to help you. Possible people who are your friends or relatives who have migrated and you do not actually know. Then there are other provinces that do not require that. It's not that they don't require it, but it's not compulsory. The only thing is you may not get additional mark for that. For example, Saskatchewan, you won't get points for relative if you're a relative there, but you can actually get an invite. I've had many of my clients get invites from that province, and they never had anybody in there. They never had anybody there, even though it's one of the requirements, but it's not a compulsory requirement. So there are other provinces like that will take you. I've done a provincial program for some of my clients who are currently in Alberta and they don't have a relative in Alberta. We have done that for many people. They don't have a relative in Alberta, and they're here and they came into provincial nomination, and they were outside Canada. It's not as if they were in Canada. So it's possible to get provincial nomination without you having a relative or a friend in Canada. Very possible. So, secondly, for an asylum seeker already in Canada, how possible is it to change status as a refugee? It's very difficult. Very, very difficult. It's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. Why? You have come in as an asylum seeker already. So whatever you are doing, that's already on your record. So if you want to change your status, they will look at what you have said before, and don't forget that many times when people apply for asylum, they write so many things. They've gotten your details down from the beginning, so it's easy to change those details, and it's possible, but it's difficult. But it's not impossible. If you retain our services, we'll look at the circumstances, review it, and we'll advise you on the best way to go about it. If it's something that we can pick up, we'll let you know. If it's something that we think will fly, we'll let you know. We'll advise you. We'll be honest with you to tell you the truth about your situation and give you the best way to go about it. How much does it cost to retain your services for PR process? Well, we have different plans. To retain our services can be as low as it's between 400 and 600,000 naira in naira, or should I say between 1.5. It depends on what we are doing. There are so many things. There are different processes. There are different programs for PR. There are different programs that you can use for PR. So it depends on the specific program that we're using for you and what we're doing for you. But I'm sure that it can be as low as 400,000 naira. If you are paying naira, it can be as low as that. And that's about 1,000, almost $2,000 for that. But it can be as low as that. We would assess you. If you fill a free assessment, you would be assessed, and whatever program you select, you will get a report on the programs you're eligible for and what you need to pay to retain our services and how you have to do it. Then also, we always encourage our clients before they retain our services to book a consultation. If you want to book a consultation and you're paying in naira, it's 25,000 naira. If you are paying in dollars, it's $80. Why we say this is because before you pay a retainership fee, it's good that you understand everything about what you are doing before you start. So one of our consultants in Canada will talk to you. You will ask all the questions you want to ask, and whatever you are paid for consultation will be removed from your processing fee. So if for example your fee for the process is 200,000 and you are paid for consultation, you are paid 25,000 naira for consultation. That 25,000 naira will be removed from the 200,000. So what you will end up paying will be 175,000. I just use that as an example. So it's always good to do that so that before you retain our services, you have full understanding of what you're going into. You can ask all the questions you want to ask and understand everything so that you won't get halfway and say, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. It's better than committing so much money and now saying you don't know about this. Though we are very open, before you retain our services, we would have sent you all the information that you need to know, all the payments you have to pay, would have sent all to you from the beginning. And we expect you to have gone through it. If you have gone through it, you would have seen all the payments, even government fees, all the fees you will pay will be in the way we have sent to you. So if you have read that, you should have full information about what you are going into, and you can use that to make an informed decision about what to do. Someone said, how do you assist proof of fund even if the candidate qualify with other criteria? We'll guide you on what to do. We can't help you with proof of funds. It's a requirement by the Canadian government, but we can guide you. We can look at what you have and guide you on how to go about it. There are so many ways. Proof of funds is not just about cash alone. There are so many other ways by which you can show proof of funds. So it's not until you have the naira, it's not until you have cash in your bank statement alone that you can say you have proof of funds. There are other methods that you can use. So we'll sit down, if you retain our services, we'll analyze your profile, look at you, ask you so many questions. We'll look at you might have some things that you may not even know that you could use. So we will sit you down and advise you on how best to go about using what you have to your own advantage. How do I improve my IELTS score? Well, I'll leave this question for next week. We're going to be talking about IELTS next week, Thursday. So the topic for next week will be on IELTS. In fact, the topic is on strategies that you can use to get a band 9 in IELTS when you want to do Canada immigration. So let's leave the IELTS question for next week. Someone said, is IELTS required for the caregiver program? Yes, IELTS is required for the caregiver program, but the requirement is very low. What you are required to have is CLB 5, which is very low. If you have 4 in reading and all others, you have 5, that's CLB 5. Quite unlike the skilled worker program, where you're expected to have a band 9, or the official thing is 7, but really, I always encourage my clients to have try to get a band 9. So, but for the caregiver program, the CLB that is required for caregiver program is actually CLB 5, which is very low. What program is best for one above 45 years? You can do provincial program. I can't. It's not age. Age is just one factor. There are other criteria that are being used. Age is one factor out of over 20 factors. So someone that is 45 may have a relative in Canada. Someone that is 45 may be able to get a provincial nomination. If you lose 100 for the maximum mark you can lose for age when you are coming to the express entry program is, if you are single, it's 110. If you are married, it's 100. Now, if you lose 100 points and you're able to get a provincial nomination and you get 600 points, the 600 would have swallowed the 100. So at the end of the day, age is may not be relevant, because if you're able to get a provincial nomination and you get additional 600 points, your score will be over. Your score is likely to be like 900 or 1,000. The highest mark you can get under express entry is 1,200. So if you are getting provincial nomination of 600, that automatically makes you eligible, and by the next draw that they will do, I'm 100% certain that they will take you. So it's not about, this is just one factor. There are so many programs. The person asking about this should go to our website. Let me put it again for those that don't know. This is the link. I'll put the link again for those that, I just send that link again for those that want to fill the free assessment. Go to that website, fill the free assessment. Once you fill the free assessment, we will see your profile and we'll be able to advise you. There are so many programs that you can use. What about 7 band overall? 7 band is good. It's okay. 7 band overall. Well, I don't understand what you mean by what about 7 band overall, but definitely we can actually you can use 7 band to do a lot of things. Yeah, very well. You can use it to do a lot of things. 7 band is you having 7 band is very good for IELTS. It's actually very good. Okay, more questions. Is it important to have experience in caregiver before applying for jobs in caregiver? No. There are different categories for the caregiver. We have the category for those that don't have work experience, and we have the category for those that have work experience. So let me tell you about the 3 categories. We have one that even without you having work experience as a caregiver, you can apply for it. We have one that where you have less than 24 months work experience, and we have the 3rd category where you have 24 months or more work experience. So for someone that does not have work experience in caregiving, you can apply for the one that does not require work experience, and you will still be taken if you do the right things. There are other things that you have to do anyway. Is ECA compulsory for the PNP? Well, it depends on the provinces, but most provinces require that you do ECA. Most migration program requires that you do ECA. And why they require that is because they want to assess your credentials to see whether it's equivalent to the Canada standard. So it's a basic requirement for many programs. So if you want to migrate, it's good that you actually do ECA, that's educational credential assessments. What program is best for family of 4 that wants to migrate? There are so many programs that are good for a family of 4 that wants to migrate. So many programs. I've talked earlier on about so many programs that you can use to migrate. So there are so many programs. I will advise that Mr. Lowkerry, I will advise that you fill a free assessment form. You fill a free assessment form, will be able to guide you on, will assess you, then advise you on what you need to do. What are success rates? Success rates. we are expert in what we do. We have a head office in Canada, and we know what the Canada government wants. So even before you start the process, we would advise you and tell you what your chances are. How we able to know this is because if we have access to you, we will know if you fall within the upper one third, middle third, or the lower third. If you're in the upper one third, definitely it's certain. If you are, it's almost certain unless you have issues like medical or criminality, that can be used to refuse your visa. But because you are working with professionals who are licensed, I think maybe I think I need to clarify something on that. We are licensed immigration consultants. For you to become licensed, for you to become a licensed Canadian immigration consultant, you need to go to school, go and study immigration consulting. After you have done that, you would also do board exam before you now become licensed. That's what we pass through to become licensed. Quite unlike many other people who just open offices and they are not licensed, they don't even know, many of them don't even know what they are doing. But we actually went to school to study this, and that's what separates us from others because we were taught Canada immigration. They told us all this, they taught us all this, they went to school. So many times, I think if you check our website, you'll see number there, our license. If you go to ICC House website, which is the regulatory body for immigration consultants, you can type our name there through the immigration services. You will see everything about us there. You see our number and everything. That's how to verify those that are licensed. So those that are licensed ought to know what they are doing because they went to school, they understand what the process is all about. They were taught about it, they know about it. So the chances of you getting your visa through us is high. But at the end of the day, I have to be frank with you, the final decision is in the hands of the consular. But the fact is, when you have done the right thing, you have given them what they want, you know what they want, and you're giving them what they want, the likelihood that you get a positive result is high. But when you don't know what you're doing and you're not giving them what they want, the likelihood that you get a visa is also very high. So when you work with licensed immigration consultants, your chances are actually, it's just like a medical doctor. I'll use that as an example. If you have two doctors living beside your house, one went to a school, went to maybe UI, he went to school to study medicine. The other one did not go to school, but he just opened an hospital. Where will you want your enemy or even your friends to receive medical treatment? I'm sure you will not want to put even your enemy. You will not want your enemy to go to someone that is unlicensed, really. So it's similar to immigration also. Licensed professionals are people who are actually going to school. And when I find out, Canada, if anybody is representing you or helping you with your application, Canada says they must be, if you are paying anybody for Canada immigration or visitors visa, anything in Canada, if you are paying anybody for it, the person must be licensed. If not like if you pay someone and they're not licensed and they find out, they can refuse your visa on that basis because that's misrepresentation. You are lying about it. So when you do visa with us, we would write our names, we write our company name, put it there that we assisted you to fill your form. We helped you with this thing. We'll put our names there. We will sign use of representative form and we'll put our details there. Many other agents will not do that because they know that if they do that, that's a refusal. That's automatic refusal for you because if you are paying anybody, the person is supposed to be licensed. Can husband and wife apply separately? Yeah, it's possible. You can apply separately. Very well. Can a first degree survey holder apply for PMP? Yes. A BSc holder or a first degree survey holder can apply for promotion program. Is it a must to acquire a second degree? It's not a must to acquire a second degree, but at times, but that's the set of assessments. We'll assess you to see your scores, then we'll be able to advise you on the best way to go about it. But it's not really a must that you must do a second degree. Provincial nomination is not compulsory that you must have a second degree for you to get a provincial nomination. With respect to the temporary visa refusal, I've applied for this month now for over 2 months now without any response from them for now. What should I still do? You wait for the report. You can send them. You can actually ask for update on what to send to them, but you have to wait for it. When you wait for it, you can let us see it. When we see it, we will advise you on what you have to do. So I want to thank you all for coming out to listen to this entire session. So by Thursday next week again, we'll be talking a lot on IELTS years. So I'd like you to also join us on Thursday and tell your friends. You can always follow us on Facebook, like our page. Go to our YouTube channel, Trilling Travel. Follow us on YouTube. Our Instagram page also at Trilling Travel. Our Facebook page too is at Trilling Travel or Trilling Immigration Services. You can follow us so you can get regular updates on our seminars and many other things that we are doing. So I'll leave you us again by posting our website here. I'll ping it here, trillingtravel.com. For those that don't have it yet, you can go there and you see a lot of things about us. And thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. See you next week again. For those that, and tell your friends and others to join us. Thank you.